Hobby Streaker, stripping down your hobby to its bare plastic. Hello everyone, welcome to the second episode of the Hobby Streakers. I'm joined by Liam again, and always. Yeah, episode 2. Alright, well, so we're gonna start by talking about what we're gonna do today. Then we'll go over what we've done the past few weeks, and then we'll go to the main topic of this podcast. Alright, so today I'm gonna continue on Mr. Deadpool that I started on the previous podcast. So what are you gonna do today?
My plan for today is I've got 5 Judicators, so Stormcast with bows, and I'm going to start by doing the red tassets and helmet plumes and stuff, and after I get that done, I'll see where the evening takes me.
All right.
Got other colours, basic colours to block out on that.
All right. What have you done the past 2 weeks then? Is that what you've been working on mostly, or?
Last couple of weeks I've finished these 2 Dracolines. So evocators on Dracolines. Finished these up.
I love that. I really love that blue. So for people listening on the podcast, I mean, go on Twitter and look at those. Which blue is that?
That is the Contrast Talisar Blue.
Yep.
That is over a
nice
lead belcher spray. That one. Lead belcher spray.
Cool.
And then just jobs are good.
Yeah. No, I mean that blue
the
is
contrasts.
It just
a lot of them are
they're nice.
just about thin enough that you can whack them over a metallic and get a really nice metallic color over.
Well,
so
and then do you
the
have
easy way to do candy metallics?
Yeah. Do you have the Larmian medium or the contrast medium?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that you can thin them out and then you can do a glaze. And so you finish those guys, and then you're working on the. Is that also from the magazine again?
This is also from the magazine again, because
Nice.
I've got a big box full of new toys turning up on Saturday, and I want to clear as much of the decks as possible.
All right.
I'm not going to get it done, but I'm going to try.
Well, yeah, that's the whole point. Well, so on my side, I've been again, for people listening on the podcast, I invite you to go to Twitter to see those. But so I worked on this dude, which is I have no idea. It's just a big mouth with teeth and a tongue, and that's basically its head, which is really cool. And so that's a demon for Raining Hell, which, damn it, I had my Raining Hell book somewhere here, which I cleaned. I actually cleaned my hobby space, which was another thing. Hey, here it is. So for the people who have not gotten it, Raining Hell, here we go. So, and then, yeah. So I've continued making some of those demons. And then I tried a couple of new things while I was doing those guys. So, this Tusk dude, which is gonna be, I think, my Spike Demon. I actually ended up doing... Oh, and I just realized there's a flake of paint, metallic paint. But anyway, so what I did was Creed Camo contrast paint all over. And then each of its, not body part, but little section, I used a different contrast paint on it as a second layer in a way to give it a different tone. So I used the contrast Yundan yellow on his hands and his face and his legs. I used some purple, Magos purple on his body and his arms, and then I used the blue, which I don't remember which blue I used. I didn't use the Thalassar blue. I don't think so. But anyway, so I did that, and then some even Apocarity white on his belly, and it was really cool. I really liked it. I mean, it gave me something that was really different shades of greens, and that was really cool. But it wasn't enough, so I ended up accentuating this with glazes, and so that was, well, not something new that I tried, because glazes I tend to glaze quite a lot, but it was something new I tried on this guy, was that contrast paint on top of contrast paint to try to do it. What I think I will do next time is I think I will thin the first layer of green that I did with contrast medium to make it a lot less like a lot less well, colored in a way, like having something a lot more transparent, so that the other colors that I put on top will show maybe more that secondary color, because that secondary color was very muted depending on the contrast paint that I had.
Did you try wet blending it at
no,
the joints?
This is the thing. I didn't want to do any wet blend. I really wanted to do like this sharp,
right? Yeah.
Sharp, just completely changing colors in between the different layers, because he's got this carapace on the top, and then he's got the flesh, and then he's got his head that's like bony, and then so that's what I did. And then after that I finished with other like regular painting and stuff. But
cool.
And then I had this little dude which I finished yesterday, which I did yesterday in one sitting, which I tried something new again on this one, which was shading. So usually what I do, and it is what I've done on my beast, which I need to finish, is usually I go from the darkest possible color first, and then I highlight layers by layers, and I do, like layered highlights on top. Well, for this guy, I put the blue, and then I'm like, that blue is bright. Well, not bright, but light. So what I ended up doing was shading all the shadows with a glaze of, and I think it was a dark blue. I don't know if it's Stormy blue or dark blue. I think dark blue is the one I used. Anyways, no, actually purple. Then I did a glaze on top of blue, and then I did highlights again. And what's really funny, and you can see it on the picture again on Twitter, is that my print kind of failed. And so he's got those holes in his arms that were just failed print. And I decided I would just like use that, and I put some vomit color effect, game effect, nice. From Vallejo on it, oozing out, and I think it was really cool. And then I used the same effect on all the pustule that he has all over his body anyway. So that's pretty much what I did.
He's allowed to have things.
Yeah, no, yeah, exactly. So, and that's pretty much what I've been doing. So I tried a couple of new things, and I finally, I received it a couple of weeks ago, but Big Child Creatives, they did a Kickstarter for some 74 scale 50 75 54 52 54 75 scale miniatures, with a bonus, like you would get a little, I got a 32 that I have not put together, but I've put my Lancelot together with the birds and everything, and it's really cool. And again, like if people listening on the podcast, well, you can go on the Big Child Creatives.com, which is a Spanish company, and their sculpt, I mean, it's a resin sculpt, but it's just really cool, and it's big. I mean, that's a 75 millimeter, 72. I never know. Anyways, so that's gonna be a project eventually down the road. That's something that I want to do. So yeah, that was a lot of new things that I've tried this week as far as painting techniques. I haven't tried any new tools or anything like this, but yeah, I just felt like I wanted to do something different, and so I just tried on the those demons. I think they're pretty cool for that because it's just I'm having fun painting them. They can be like whatever color. There's no rules for them. You know,
Mm.
it's not like Deadpool. If I start painting him like pink, well, actually, yeah, that would probably be a Deadpool thing to do. But if I if I painted it green, that would look weird. So yeah, it's not something that I'm gonna be doing on this guy, but I am gonna be using the same technique that I've used on the other guy, on the little demon, and I am gonna do some shading today with some purple on the red.
Ooh.
I think it's gonna be really nice, and then I will do some highlights on it as well. So, what have you been trying this week?
Uh, the only new thing I've tried this week is for the podcast.
All right.
So I've been we had some slight audio issues with the last one, so we're now playing the Candly and record everything in Audacity and send it over so that we've got
Yeah.
decent audio, so that people don't want to rip their ears out when they listen to us game.
Well, no,
So
and
so
and I
far
think
that's working.
the main issue that I had last time was the cutting because of
Yeah,
we're recording on Skype and it's just it will cut because you're dropping signals and all this stuff and so yeah,
we're we're
but
we're
yeah,
we're, we're a ways away from
we're
each
learning.
other.
Yeah. So yeah, you're in England. I'm in the U.S. in the Midwest, Mountain Time. So yeah, I am pretty far away, and we are pretty far away from each other.
And
Contrary to what?
Skype is Skype. So
Yeah, that's the problem. It's like it's still. I don't think there is that many other programs where you can have the video and record. But anyways, well, people can let us know in the comments if they want. But I think I think we should be good with this with what we're doing now. So well, and so speaking of that, I've also been trying some new things. One of which is switching from iMovie to DaVinci. So I'm hoping that's gonna be a nice change, and then we'll see about recording it as we were talking, recording it live maybe.
hmm.
Not live for you guys, just live for us, but making it so that we can record straight into a computer and. Oh, jeez, this is too big. So
Fun
yeah.
behind the scenes podcast stuff.
Well, yeah. So yeah, we'll see how it goes, but yeah, I think we're we can making progress.
Yeah.
So well, which gives transit. We can move to our topic for today, which is as you saw the title, your miniatures are shit, but it's okay. And the reason we put this is not it's not the what you see online, stop painting like a noob, stop doing that, improve your painting in 10 steps and all these things. Yeah, sure, I mean you can follow those and some of them are really good videos. But that's not the whole point of what we want to talk about. We're not here to tell you how to paint. Especially me. I mean, I've been painting for 2 years, and no, the thing is,
I've only just learned
and
what
I
edge
think this
highlight
is
is.
sorry.
I've only just learned how to edge highlight.
Okay, yeah, I still haven't done that. I still don't do HI. I don't like it. But this is the thing. I don't like it. It's not a style that I like. And that's okay. Again, that's okay. Everybody's painting differently. I like high contrast. Some people don't. I mean, when you look at the little dude that I have, with his shadows are just super high contrast, and I like those kinds of style. But it's not for everybody.
Yeah.
When I started, I mean, you'll look at when people start painting, and when you start painting, and you look at what you're doing, and you look at what people have been doing, like they've been painting for a few years, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, what I've got is, I mean, your paint is chalky. You've got way too much paint on the model. It's not thinned out at all. I mean, it just looks bad. Um, and this is pretty much normal, and you're not gonna
Yeah.
get super good overnight. And the other thing also, and this is the problem with, I think it's one of the problem with social media, is you look at what other people are doing, and you can get, like really bummed out by what you're doing, really demoralized by saying, "Oh man, like look at this guy, how he's painting. It looks like a piece of art and all this." Well, yeah, probably this guy has been doing it for a few years, a few more years than you have.
Yeah.
Everybody starting, everybody when they start, they're not gonna be good unless they're like artists from some other discipline.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't think where they know how to do like color theory and all this stuff. I mean, yeah, maybe those guys can be, but again, not everybody does it, and it doesn't really matter. And I
No,
think
I
that
mean,
this is something that, yeah, go ahead.
so uh, if you've been on my Instagram more than my Twitter, I don't do a lot of my karate stuff on my Twitter for some reason, but I put videos and like clips of me doing some practice in the back garden and stuff on my Insta. But I, when I'm not doing this or I'm at work, I'm a karate instructor. I teach karate to people, and this is something that I get quite a lot. Is people will walk in and they'll go, "Oh, I don't know what I'm doing," and I'm like, "That's okay. It's your first lesson. You're not supposed to know what you're doing on your first lesson. You're supposed to look crap on your first lesson, and then you get a little bit better, and then you go home, and then you come back next week, and you get a little bit better, and then you go home, and you wash, rinse, repeat, and then when you've been doing it as long as I have, you'll be as good or better than me."
Yeah, and that's the same
It's
with,
about practice. You've got to
yeah,
practice. If you don't practice, you don't get good. And
yeah,
that's
for
one of the
sure.
things about the hobby streak is you're doing consistent amounts of practice,
Yeah, no,
which lets you
and
get
I
better
think that, yeah,
faster.
yeah, for sure.
And
It it
yeah,
it
I
gives you
mean,
more freedom to try things too. I mean, I think
yeah,
that the hobby streak gives you that possibility that, hey, you know what? Tonight I don't feel like painting my army that I've been. So you know what? Let me take this model that's been sitting on my shelf for I don't know how many months, or this new
months.
model that I just got that is not going to any army, but it just looks cool. So I want to paint it, and then I want to try something new. Like some people like non-metallic metal and want to give it a try. Yeah, sure. I honestly, personally, don't really like it. I've
No,
tried
I
a
mean,
couple of times, but yeah, I'm not a big fan. But again, it's because I'm not a big fan. And then you see somebody like, like those. I know that I was looking on Instagram last time, and man, there's those professional painters that, oh my god, they paint non-metallic metal. It's just absolutely beautiful. It's amazing. And honestly, like I will never get to that level. I don't
no,
want to.
no.
I
I saw a guy over last summer who painted up a custodian guard from 40k in non-metallic metal, except he did it in chrome, so it
nice.
reflected everything. So he was painting all the reflections on all the different pieces of armor, and it took him about
Hold
3 weeks
on.
to do each limb.
Yeah,
And like,
that's why. Yeah,
that looks
no,
amazing. I am never going to be able to replicate that because
that's
I
okay.
don't have the time to put into practicing to do that. But
Yeah, no,
I
and yeah,
if I had the time to do that, I could practice that.
yeah, but I don't think I would. Like this is the thing. I mean, there's some techniques that I not
Yeah,
looking like I don't really want to do, but no, and this is the thing. I mean, you take someone that's new. He'll look at something that is painting by someone that's been doing it for a year, and
yeah,
he's gonna see a big difference, and he's gonna be like, oh my god, this is such a big difference to what I'm doing. I'm never gonna get to that level. Well, the guy's been doing it for a year, and if he's been doing the hobby streak for a year, that means he's been painting at least 30 minutes a day. So this is also something that it will get you to improve quite a lot. Now,
absolutely.
you take that same guy that's been doing it for 2 years, like me, and I look at people that have been doing it for 5, 10 years, and I can see like it's so much crisper. There is no, like they doing blending and wet blending and all this, which I'm still not there. I've tried a few and I've done it on like flames, especially. I like doing wet blending on flames, but it's not something that I'm comfortable doing right now, and it's fine. And I'll get to it eventually. I think. I don't know. I don't even know. But it will get there eventually. I'm pretty sure. I'll just keep doing it. I'll just keep doing what I'm doing and enjoying the painting, and I think that it's people should not start looking at what other people are doing, but take the first model that you've painted, paint few models for a month, just a month. If you do the hobby streak and you paint for a month, look at that model after a month, what it's going to look like compared to that first model, and that's just you will see it's day and night. Then look at 6 months from there, and so on and so forth. And I'm like, and it's funny because I'm what just looking at above my head to the shelf that I have with all the Marvel that I've done. And when you look at the first Marvel that I've done from the core set when it came out, and Deadpool that I'm doing right now, which is far from being done, but still, I mean, it's just completely another level. And it's not that long. And I think that people sometimes can get really frustrated because they feel like they're not making any progress, and it's not. It shouldn't be. You should not try to compare yourself to others. Compare yourself to what you've done before, and I think that's the big,
Yeah.
like that's the main thing that you need to take out of this. It's this: compare yourself to yourself. Don't start. You can appreciate what other people are doing.
Oh yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah.
that's normal, and you should. I mean, some people are just amazing, and I'd love to see those models. And I'm like, oh man, this league looks so cool.
This is what one
Do
of the
I
things
want? But
about
it's not.
living in the UK is that we've got Games Workshop here, and we've got Warhammer Fest here when the world's not on fire, and we can go to Warhammer Fest and we can see the Golden Demon competition,
Yeah.
and I
Oh
can
no. Yeah. And
spend like an hour and a half to 2 hours trying to walk around all the cabinets at the Golden Demon competition to see all the entries in there, and I can stand there and I can look at stuff and go, "That's
this is
really
just
gorgeous.
amazing.
That's really gorgeous. That's really gorgeous." Fuck trying to do that. That is
Yeah.
stupid. That is how? How did they do that? That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's probably
No.
going to
And
win
for
something.
sure. Yeah. Yeah.
But
Oh yeah.
like, and then I go back to my stuff and I go, well, this isn't that, but this isn't trying to be that.
Yeah.
So there,
Oh no,
there is
for
a
sure.
very big difference between painting for competitions and painting for gaming.
Yeah. That's another thing also, and I think that's so. For I think about 3 levels of painting of something that I like the way that I paint. I've got 3 levels that I do. One is quick, dirty. Let's put paint on the models. Let's make them so they will, and that's like, and for the people that are on on the podcast. You can go again on my Twitter and see. I mean, I've painted some Zombicide. Zombicide is a board game. Do I want those models to look good? I don't really give a shit, to be honest. I just need them to look the part. Right now, they're all super shiny because of the strong tone on them, which every time I look at them, I just want to grab my airbrush and just varnish them. But there's too many. I'm actually gonna have to do it with a can. And so that's the first level, I would say. Like, that's my basic thing. I can crank up models as fast as I can. Then I have those guys, which are the Frostgrave that I did. So I did a few Frostgrave knights and whatever, soldiers and all that jazz. So I did a few of them. Those guys, I took a little bit more time. So I didn't use contrast paint right away. I used base coating, then I did contrast paint on them or washes just to get them to have that, you know, gradient between highlights and shadows. And that's pretty much it. Then I put a little bit more highlights on the top, dry brushing and stuff like that. Call it done. That's my second level. I probably spent, I would say, twice as long on one model that I did on anything that's gonna be for board games. Now, after that, you have, well, those demons. I'm just trying new things. So those, I don't really count them as like painting levels because I'm just trying things. Whether it works or not, it doesn't really matter. But then my highest level of painting is a few of the Marvel that I've done, and my Ogroid that is in the page, the one that I pin on my Twitter. Those are the ones that I spend probably an excess of 10 hours on one model. Yeah. And I think that also I spent 10 hours because I didn't really know what I was doing. Probably if I painted them now, it would take me 6. But then I can paint again a model for 10 hours, just doing more and increasing more and more and more the level of painting. And you're never done. I mean, if you really want, I mean, I could take those models and just keep doing highlights forever. It's like if you want, you can feel like you're never done. And so again, that's another thing. It's you need to know when to stop. And if it's for a board game,
George Lucas. Know when to leave it alone.
Nice. If you don't like, if you're doing a board game, no, and I think a lot of people should start by painting board games.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of details, yes. Well, actually, and this is the thing. Like, I was looking at, and for the people again on the podcast, there's a abomination for the game Zombicide Second Edition. That's got a squid. Well, it's not a squid. It's actually a octopus head with little wings on its back. And there's a couple more, and those I think are gonna be great for Rain in Hell. But they looked a little bit better detailed than the rest of the board game. So I don't know. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, so that's something that I'm looking at as well. And so, but again, those are board game pieces, and I'm sure with all the Kickstarters around that a lot of people have pieces like this from a game, or some of them are really good. I mean, if you take Kingdom Death Monsters, their sculpt are just, oh my god, yeah,
models.
They're just amazing. But again, that's not for everybody, and the price tag is pretty high too. So nope. Speaking of Kickstarter, so and I'm just gonna check just to make sure I get his name right. But we had a comment on the videos that I missed completely the fact that um, there is a bigger Kickstarter than Kingdom Death Monster, and that was uh, Frost Heaven, which is the second edition of Gloomhaven.
Right.
And that one, yeah, that one went 12 point something million, so definitely.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep, so I missed completely that one, but so I want to just correct that. So I guess that The Witcher was not third, but probably fourth. And I have not checked. I haven't had time to actually check if it was even less than that. But at least it's fourth. So
Witcher made a lot of money. Is the point we were making.
They're still made a buttload of money, yes. And again, I would like to reiterate that I really think that it's gonna be a good game. So the game itself is what got me to. The minis were fun looking, but what really got me into thinking I really want to back this was the actual gameplay and everything. Seems really, really cool. Alright. So
a little bit more back on
let
topic.
Me see. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, you gotta know what you're painting and what you're painting to. So with like the stuff that I'm painting at the moment, I'm painting up to what would be like a quote unquote tabletop standard. So base, wash, single highlight, job done. Things like the characters. I mean, I've got, I don't know if you can see there, over there, I've got my Marathi that I painted up a few years ago.
Okay.
So she's got like 2 layers of highlights on because she's a massive, big centerpiece, giant snake lady monster thing.
Cool.
So your centerpiece
That's
models
nice.
and your characters, you can put a little bit more on.
The name,
take a little bit
yeah,
more time
the
on.
name character usually, yeah, the name
But
is what you said. Like the name
on
character are usually the good ones, right?
On the flip side of that, for my Iron Warriors Heresy army, I've got a formation that I take them in for my Heresy bros. I know you guys are out there. There is a rite of war that you can take called Sacrificial Offering.
Okay.
Which lets you ally in Imperial Cults and Militia to your Space Marines, and they get to stand there in the deployment zone and go, "We'll hold the line, the Space Marines will save us." And then the Space Marines come in at the back, outflank the enemies, kill them, and the guys stand there and die horribly like dogs. So, for my version of that, I took 2 units of 50 levy. So I had to paint 100 Catachan Guardsmen in about a month. Yeah. So they got sprayed, base coloured, washed, pinned to a base, done.
Yeah, no, and that's pretty much
So that batch paint, learning how to batch paint is big and clever.
But, well, if you do, if you do armies, yes, definitely. I mean, and this you get to the thing is, if your name is Trooper 1 and Trooper 2 and Trooper 3, or Space Marine 1, 2, 3, nobody cares about you. You can just be painting basic. But if your name is Deadpool, or if your name is, well, Deadpool is in a game that's skirmish, so that's different. But if your name is Vader, or if your name is Luke, then you get painted a lot better, because you're gonna be on the table a lot longer. Well, hopefully, because that's another thing. Yeah, hopefully, and they're gonna be the center of attention, and they're gonna be the centerpieces of your army, anyways. They're gonna be the ones leading your army, taking your army, and so on in any games that you want to do. And so those guys, of course, they should get a little bit better treatment. And it goes back to what we were saying about the board games. I mean, board games, nobody cares about the dudes on the board game. But I still ended up, for my zombie side, I still ended up doing a lot more work on the actual character than I did on the zombies. The zombies, I batch painted them. Hey, you're gonna get a blue pants, and you're gonna get a blue shirt, and you're gonna get a blue whatever, and just added that color to all the different zombies, while I try to replicate the actual card for all the characters that were
Yeah.
named character.
So there's a concept that a couple of the older guys, the more wizened wargamers at the club that I go to, have called the 3 Mile High General,
Okay.
which is really the 3 meter high general. Because your head is going to be roughly, depending on how tall or short you are, 3 meters over the top of the table if you're at a standard height table. So if your model looks good on the table,
3 meter? You mean 3 feet? 3 feet.
yeah.
3 meters.
While you stood up here, if it looks good
Yeah.
there, then it's fine.
Oh no, yeah, for sure.
It's all good. Don't worry about it. You don't need that third layer of highlights, Leanne.
But again, and that's if you're doing like any sort of tabletop wargaming.
Yeah.
Honestly, like I'm not a big, like I don't play that much. I haven't played that much, and I don't think I will play that much because mainly people where I am play Warhammer, which no offense to Warhammer, but I'm not a big fan. And I understand that some people and don't get me wrong, I love a lot of the models that Games Workshop are putting out, and so yeah, but it's not for me. So I like the painting. Do I want to push it to? Oh, I want to do competition, and no, I am not. I will I get to a level where I think I will be good enough to enter in a competition? I have no idea. Like that big model that I have, I might actually spend a few hundred hours on this. I don't know. Like I might actually take my time and once in a while just dip into it. And you can, like we said, you can spend 10 hours on one leg or one arm. And you layer and you layer and you layer and until you get to the smoothest blend that you can possibly have and to a level that you really think it looks great. Yeah, it's not. It's not for me. But again, I really like and I enjoy that side of the hobby, which is the painting. I really do. Well, speaking of Games Workshop, so if we want to talk about the latest news, it looks like Dominion is still not sold out. I don't know how it is on the UK store, but in the US it's still pretty much available for pre-order. So how is it in the UK? Can you still get it?
I got up early, sat on my laptop in the queue, and got into the queue. It'll be about an hour before you're served. Okay. 5 minutes later, it'll be about 20 minutes before you're served. Cool. 5 minutes later, and that's when it starts going down in real time. And then I've got in to the shop about 10:15. Still copies there. Bought my copy. Bought my General's Handbook. And then I went to work. And then I sat down for my lunch. And people were saying, "Oh, we've still got copies in stock in XYZ
Oh no, yeah,
third
it's
party
everywhere.
retailer. We've still got copies in XYZ third party retailer. I'm like, okay, they made a lot
Well,
of this box.
yeah, I think they just. I mean, there was a, and it is funny because it's you don't really hear anything positive about this.
No,
All you hear online is just negative about it. Be like, oh yeah, they hyped it up and everything, but actually there are so many, and then there's still people in retail that are not getting their copies and all this. I was like, man, can you just like take, just be happy about it? And I'm actually thinking that if by the time it comes out, maybe like a month after, if there's still a copy somewhere, if I can find a copy without looking too hard, I might just get one. But it's
I
not
mean
something that I wanted to
there probably
buy.
will be.
Yeah. So this is why I'm like, should I be like 2 months maybe? Because I'm pretty sure after a month there'll still be. I mean, you can still find Curse City copies in the wild. I mean, they're still there. Um, that one you have to look hard, but I don't
Yeah,
think this one you will have to look very hard. I mean, I
no,
saw the Indominus box. I saw it in a store that was closing. Um, and I almost got it, and I was like, should I? And then it actually wasn't worth it. The people that were like, oh yeah, 10%, blah blah blah, we're closing. They were closing the store, but actually at the end it was not worth it. So yeah,
no. I
but yeah,
mean
it's
iOS is
weird.
slightly less popular than 40k, so there's that. And the other
Yeah,
thing is that they've probably learned from the mess last year with Indomitus and made a shit ton more. So
yeah, because they don't want to. I mean, that's the thing. They don't want to go back to doing the print on demand. That just
no, that
screw them
really
over.
that
Yeah,
screwed their schedule for about 2 months.
yeah, yeah. That was not a good idea.
I
They
mean,
do a second
we would
print,
probably already
schedule
have
second print.
Dominion and third edition in our hands now. I would be
Oh yeah,
painting my
if
Dominion
that,
stuff
yeah, yeah,
now, if not for
yeah.
the print on demand stuff with Indomitus last year.
Oh, of course, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So yeah, it's wild.
Yeah.
Well, Games Workshop are owning their own factory and being able to produce their own miniatures is a good thing for them.
Well, they
But
moved,
they've
right?
also got to do they've also got all the COVID restrictions and stuff that they've got to work around. So
Yeah, that's
they
still,
can make all
yeah,
their
that's
stuff on
still,
site, but they can make less of it because they've got less people in the factory.
yeah, yeah, for sure. But yeah, it's been weird. I mean, it's just, and I think that yeah, they're gonna do a second print. I'm pretty sure. Instead of doing like instead of doing print on demand, I think they should just say, hey, well, they should just look at what how well it's selling and then schedule a second print. Like maybe a lot less quantity, but schedule it like in between their everything else that they're printing or whatever they have in the pipeline, so that it's you know it is scheduled and it's not gonna affect the rest. And be like, hey, yep, we have a slot right here. This is where it's gonna go. We can print that many in that time. That's it, and not doing anything more. We'll see, but again, it's not something that, yeah, it's not really
Uh,
something I was looking forward to. But I do. And do you think that the fact that it's not selling that well also has to do with the new sculpt? That some
no,
people do not like the new
I know
orcs.
that the
Uh,
the people have strong opinions on the new orcs.
well, either way, that's the funny part. Because I don't like the previous orcs. I love those. I think they look super cool.
Yeah,
I didn't like the previous ones.
they're
But a lot
very
of people
unique. I
are,
love it.
yeah, a lot of people were like, oh, I love the previous orcs. They look so goofy and funny and blah 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 and over the top, which is fine. And so yeah, I don't know. I think that might be also or one of the reason it might not sell that well. But again, like a lot of people would be like, okay, I'm gonna buy it from the Storm Bros, and then the orcs I'm not gonna bother. So I don't know. Or I'm gonna split it like you're doing, split it with somebody
Yeah,
else. So yeah,
I need to text my friend
it's
and find out what he's doing Saturday evening. See if he wants to come over and just
very strange.
build toys.
It was very strange. Well, and I
It's
was
a whole
watching
thing.
today. So Mantic Games came out with a new game apparently, uh, which it's called Override, something like that. I don't know. I didn't even know their previous game, but their models look pretty cool. They're using models from one of their Blood Bowl type game, I think. So
Mantic,
yeah.
Guild Ball. I think it's Mantic.
I don't. Is it Gilbo
Yeah,
is Mantic? Maybe.
or was. That there was a whole thing
Was
where they met that they said no. Guild Ball was Steamforged. My
yeah.
bad.
So, but Mantic, yeah, it's like I they weren't on my radar until I saw their Kickstarter for um Siege 6, which is a game based on um Tom Clancy, the game, the books, Rainbow whatever, Rainbow
Yeah.
6. So, and I almost backed it up, and it's ongoing, and I'm like, eh. The problem is it's a two-player game again, and most of the game that we play is 4 players or more, like all the actual board games.
Yeah.
So I figured, I'm like, yeah, no, it's not something that I'm gonna be really playing. So there's no point in backing it up. But it looks pretty cool. Looks like a pretty good game. Alright. So what I'm doing right now, and so I've been basically building my layers on my guy. And so red, do not mix red with white. Don't do
No.
that. If you want a brighter red or lighter red in color, like, don't do white or it's gonna be pink. What you want to do is use a yellow, and this is pretty much what I've been doing. So I've been layering. Now it's my second layer of highlights, and that one looks almost orange because it's been mixed. My basic red, which was gory red, which I love, it's such a nice color from Vallejo, mixed with gold yellow, and so increasing the level of yellow will make my highlights, and it's very diluted so that it's a glaze more than anything else, and I like doing that, progressively building. um I know that some people, and it actually looks really good, you can just go for a pretty steep change.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to go the way that I like. You don't have to glaze and glaze and glaze and glaze and just get the highlights up and up and up, and the area that you're glazing smaller and smaller and smaller. You can actually just do a pretty sharp highlight, and I know that a lot of people do those, but and they can look really good. All right. So what's your plan for this week then? After you're done
So
with those
this
guys.
week, I'm I've got a karate thing on Saturday. I've got to go 2.5 hours north to a city
All
called
right.
Coventry and do like 5.5 hours worth of karate. So I'm
Oof.
starting the process of being looked at for my next grade, which is
Nice.
serious business. So a lot of
Oh
my
yeah.
free time this week is going to be practice. So
All right.
in between doing that, I'm going to finish these lads off as the plan. The main part of that plan is remember how I paint lightning arrows, because I've got a full squad of 10 of these, and I painted lightning arrows in their bows. I don't remember how I did that. So I'm going to have to go over to my box, pull one out, and go
How did I do this?
reverse engineer that. Because I am not a
Well,
smart
so you don't.
person and I don't write my recipes down.
This is what I was gonna say. What didn't you write it down?
No,
I
because
mean,
I'm an
who
idiot.
does that? No, but who does that? I mean, I never. Yeah, it was the same thing. I
Smart
don't
people.
remember
Smart
which.
people do that. Smart people
I don't
who
remember.
paint lots of armies, army painters
Well,
who are
yeah,
smart,
yeah,
do that.
yeah.
I am not one of those
Well, but
people.
even, well, even that's an issue for me. This is the thing where you do highlights and things like this. It's I mix color right now.
Yeah.
There is no way in hell I can do the same color again. So this is gonna have to be it. Like I'm gonna have to be done with my highlight basically as I'm done here. If I want to do more highlights, I will have to go to the next level of highlights and then use the color that's still on my wet palette to be like, okay, let me see what I can do. That's gonna be looking pretty good. I know what I've mixed, but that's about it. It's like I did not write down exactly the quantity of each. It's yeah. So how do you do the hobby streak when you have long days like this? What do you do?
So
Do you still sit down or
my plan for Saturday is going to be get up, have breakfast, have a shower, iron a uniform, fill a load of bottles of water up, find a snack to eat in the halfway point, get in the car, drive to Coventry, sweat my butt off, drive back, stop at the motorway services, have something to eat, get back, have another shower, nap, because I'm going to be knackered, and then I'm going to
yeah,
get up, and hopefully my Dominion box will be here,
nice.
so I can go, fantastic, these are easy to build push fit models.
Oh, and
Clip,
then you do some
scrape,
building, yeah.
build.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah, that's usually my
I've got a
go-to when I'm yeah.
load of boxes under my desk that I save for I can't be asked to paint days.
Yeah. No, and you see, I mean, you see a lot of people again. I was reading some of the hobby streak and the online on Twitter, and there's a lot of people that are like, all right, I'm done with hobby streak today because I was just so tired and everything, and I was like, oh, yeah, I can understand, and it's fine, and they're like, oh yeah, I'll start again tomorrow,
Yep.
which is good, but sometimes, I mean, and this is the thing, is that you can as long as you're doing something hobby related, I think it's your again guidelines, not strict rules. You have a Dominion new rule set. Read that for 30 minutes. I mean that's that's gonna be time that yeah you're it's hobby related for me. It's definitely hobby related. It's something that it's not easy. You need to you need to grasp whatever. Um, if you want to read the lore, it's also interesting. If you want to build your list, a lot of people are building lists, and you can see it. Like people are like, oh, tonight, yeah, I just built a list. Well, you didn't just build it; you build a list. That takes a lot of time to do that. It's. I've been doing a lot of video editing because I did not know, so I need to learn video editing. And hopefully, we're gonna change software, and it's a new software that I have to learn now. But yeah, it's gonna be. I started looking at it a little bit, and it just makes it so much easier to do what I did for the previous podcast, and just it's probably gonna be a lot faster. So hopefully, people are gonna listen to this on Friday. Hey.
If it's past
And
Friday, when you hear this, when it pops up, issues happened.
oh yeah, I mean yeah,
We
it's
ran into
it's
teething issues
uh,
because we are learning things.
yeah exactly. And again, we'll make progress. the sound quality. Well, hopefully the sound quality is gonna be much better. The video editing is gonna be less janky. And man, I'm really liking my Deadpool. Nice. There
I
you
am
go.
stalling slightly.
This is what you want. This is what you want. You spend, well, almost an hour now. We've been doing this.
Yeah.
We've been painting and chatting, and it's really, I'm really liking where I am after an hour of doing some highlights. And let me see if I can get it closer to the camera, hopefully. And then probably a lot of pictures online are gonna look much better than this, actually.
Yeah.
It's funny because you can really tell on the camera the purple. Well, the when you actually look at the model, it's very faint. So, but I am really happy with what I've done. So
As another quick reason to know why your models look shit. It's because people have better cameras than you. They're sticking their shit in a
yeah.
DS in a light
Well,
box with a DSLR and they're playing with the filters.
yep. And I've done that. I mean, if you look at my Orgoroid, the picture that I have, it's I mean, lit properly.
Yeah.
With a DSLR, trying. That's probably took like 30 pictures, and I didn't put any filter on it, except for a band around that looks like a. It's the picture is kind of eaten or whatever, like around. It's a vignette type thing. So that's the only thing that I've done that really is post processing. The rest is not. It's all with the camera, but still, it that picture looks awesome because of the picture. Well, so what have you done today in that past hour?
So I have managed to. Let's just pick the prime. So I've managed to. I've done the red, the tassets, and the plumes. Like I said, managed to pick out the tabards in white, the shafts of the arrows. I also picked out the parchment strips, the weapon hafts on their side weapon, the scabbards, and the whatever that called quiver. There we go.
Cool.
And then I've just finished putting snakebite leather on the leather parts for that. So there we go.
Nice.
Next
All right.
step on that is to pick out the gold on those and
Do
do
you
the
wash your gold?
tabards. Sorry?
Do you wash the gold?
Yes. So when it's
Agrax
all done,
or
it'll look like the gold on this gentleman here.
yeah.
So I mute it down
But
and
do you
then
use
highlight it up.
Agrax or do you use sepia?
Reichland Fleshblade.
Agrax. Yep. That was yep. It's either
Third
for
option.
gold. It's usually yeah. Well, I don't like Agrax for gold.
No.
I usually like I like the sepia, the flesh.
Yeah. The other
Well,
thing for gold, I've got this guy. This guy. He's got a very dirty, sort of dark gold. So I actually non-oiled the gold on him and didn't highlight it.
okay.
So it's quite muted, which
Mhm.
I think sets off nice against the candy red and the
Alright.
green on that. So
Alright, well, everybody, thank you so much for joining us today on the second episode. Hopefully, much better. We'll see for doing another one in about 2 weeks. Again, we're trying to keep a format of about an hour, so that you can even listen in 2 slices. You do your 30 minutes, and then you do another 30 minutes the next day, and you can still listen to us. please subscribe, like, comment. If you're looking at us on YouTube,
Follow us on Twitter.
Follow us on Twitter. We have a Facebook page. I know a lot of people don't like Facebook.
Group.
It's exactly, that's what I was gonna say. It's a Facebook group. It's a private group. So if you want to join, you need to ask, and we're just filtering people. So please come join us, post comments and the likes. If you listen to us on podcast, I don't know how many platforms we have right now. I think it's about 6. It just does it automatically, but it should be soon on iTunes, I'm hoping. Again, leave a 5-star review. It will help us get more views. And yeah, we are working on a Discord server, which I'm hoping
that's my job.
Exactly. It is up and running, and we're hoping to have it open to people soon. And then I don't know how we're gonna manage the invites and all this, but yeah, we'll see how we do that.
I need to figure out how to fiddle around with some bots for that. So
Awesome.
I've got the know-how. I'll work it out.
All right. Awesome. All right. Thank you. Talk to you later, guys. Bye. This has been an episode of the Hobby Streakers. If you're following us on YouTube, please leave a comment, like, subscribe, and don't forget to ring that bell for any future episode. If you're following us on a podcast, please leave a positive review. Thank you, and don't forget to keep that hobby streak going.